Welcome to my channel, Diva Side of an MUA. Alright, so I have a palettes hit and miss video. I'm going to go through this stack right here. I actually have another stack that I'm going to go through as well on a bunch of different types of palettes, blush palettes, contour palettes. Just a really quick look at the different palettes that I use, and some of them that I really don't like and that I wish I never bought or asked for as a gift. So I'm going to go through that with you guys, and I will let you know that this is going to be a long video. I'm going to try to shorten it out as best as I can. Going over these palettes is not going to be in any particular order as far as if I like them a lot, if I don't, or anything like that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into these palettes. The first palette, which I got in my hand right here, is the Naked 3 palette. And this palette I did purchase recently, probably about a couple of months ago, and unfortunately this is one of my least used palettes. I really was wanting to like this palette. It's got some rose gold tone colors, which was a really unique palette, which is the reason why I purchased this palette. But for some reason, when I swatch the colors, they don't really live up to the Makeup Geek standard that I'm accustomed to, and I feel like they really fall short on this palette. Now, there are a few colors out of this palette that I really do like. I do like Mugshot. I like Factory. Buzz is another one that I really like, and also Dust. So it's just a few that I really like, but it's nothing. This is not a palette that's really my go-to palette. Alright, now my other palette from Urban Decay Cosmetics is the Naked palette, which is one of my go-to palettes, which is the original Naked palette right here. And this is their popular palette, the first Naked that came out. And so I purchased this palette recently, a few months ago as well. And so I really love this palette right here. It's warm tones. It works really well for my skin color. There is some fallout with some of the colors, but for the most part they really work. This is a great palette for somebody who's really into neutrals and, you know, really wants to stick with that neutral base and create some really fun looks right here. And this is the Naked palette. Of course, it comes with a mirror. And the other palette from Urban Decay is the Electric palette. This came out probably like a year and a half ago, if not longer. I really love the case. I like hard cases. They really protect the eyeshadows because I'm really clumsy and I just throw my stuff around. I'm really heavy-handed, and this palette has kind of been through some things. But unfortunately, when I got this palette, I did wait like a while to get it. I didn't get it right when it came out. I waited a while because I don't know, it wasn't one of those palettes. This is not one of those palettes that you would just create a bunch of eye looks off of this one palette. This palette is a type of palette that you would incorporate with another palette to create a look. But the color pigmentation is really great. I'm not quite sure why I'm not grabbing for this palette as much as I thought I would. This palette was $60 or maybe $54. And I really like the casing. Really sleek, really colorful. I love the name Electric. So this is a great palette right here if you really are into colors, or if you want to incorporate it with your neutral palette. These two will work great together to create some fun looks right here. So my next two palettes are from the Loreal line, which is their Loreal Pro 1 and their Loreal Pro 2 right here. And I really, as you can tell, the Loreal Pro original one in the black case, this is my most used palette. This is my go-to palette that I use on my clients and also on myself right here. This has beautiful warm tone colors. The top row is matte and the bottom row is shimmer. And so this is one of my most used palettes right here. I grab for this palette at least once a week and it never fails me. Love this one right here. These are $42 each. The gray one, which is the Loreal Pro 2, which is their newer one out of the Pro line. And of course the same thing, mattes on the top and shimmers on the bottom. This is more of a cool tone palette. I don't really reach for this palette as much as I should, but the colors are great. A few of them do have a bit of chalkiness, like a couple of these matte ones up here, I felt like they were. And then the shimmer really didn't really wow me. There wasn't any colors that were unique or anything like that. I did like jade. That's a nice olive color right there. Love so the next palette is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is a contour cream palette. And so I really waited a long time to get this palette, but I got this palette probably about 4 months ago, and I had a bad experience with shipping from them. A horror story, but we're not going to get into that. I finally got it, so I'm super happy. But this is a cream contour palette, which I do use a lot. I use this in my kit, and of course, as you can see, I do use chocolate. This is the one I mostly use for myself right here. It's super blendable. It blends great. I use a beauty blender when I blend these out here. Use a dampened beauty blender, help the product move. And yeah, so I really love this palette right here. They have, this one is in deep. They have medium, light, and fair. So depending on your skin tone and how you want to contour your face, you can pick out the palette that's right for you. And so the next palette is from It Cosmetics, which is the Naturally Pretty palette right here. And this is a palette that I don't really hear too many people talk about. This is a neutral tone, and it's all matte except for this shade down here, which is a shimmer, which is supposed to be a highlight shade. And the colors are super blendable. Even the mattes are. I really enjoyed this palette. I really was excited about this purchase, and it really was a nice palette. The only thing I don't like these cloth, I guess it's felt, this feltness on some of these palettes. The Naked has it because it gets so dirty, so it looks really ugly. But of course, when you're dealing with makeup, you don't get makeup everywhere. That's just the nature of playing in makeup. And the next palette is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar. Really love this palette, not because it smells like cocoa. If you just smell it, it just smells like, if you love chocolate, you're gonna love this palette. Every time I smell it, I want chocolate. So this is the palette right here, $42 from Too Faced Cosmetics, the chocolate bar. They also have another one called Semi Sweet, which is the second one. This palette is not used as much as when I first got it. I don't really grab for it as much as I should, but the colors are great, but it just didn't crazy wow me from a long period of time. When I first got it, I was crazy about it, created a whole bunch of looks, and now it's kind of like the novelty has worn off and I'm moving on to other stuff. But I do love this. They still have this out. You can buy it at Ulta, or you can check. This is from Urban Decay Cosmetics, and this is the Urban Decay Vice. I think this is the Vice 3. It doesn't have a number on it, so I can't remember if it's 3 or 2. I think it's 3. Alright, so this palette was given to me as a gift, but it is $60, and it comes with a pouch. This was my first ever Urban Decay palette, and I was super excited for this palette. I really wanted to love this palette. I was like, it's gotta be cool, it's gotta work. Everybody raves about all the other Vice palettes. This one's gotta be the same. This palette did not do anything for me. I'm sorry. I don't know what was going on. I did a few looks with it, but that was about it. These are the colors right here. They have shimmer. They also have a matte side. The mattes really are chalky. They're super chalky. They just fall all over the place. There's just a few in here that I really like. This palette is my least used palette. Sometimes I feel like I need to make it work, and I try to create a look, but it didn't wow me as I thought it would. And I don't know if I want to get the Vice 4 because this one really disappointed me. So I don't know if I want to spend my money, but the Vice 4 looks so tempting. The packaging is like bananas, and I'm not going to buy it for packaging, that's for sure. But we'll see. I want to see some looks created with the Vice 4, and then I'll go from there. Alright, so the next palette is from Makeup Forever, and this is one of my newer palettes. This is the Artist Shadow palette right here. This is it. It's just a little tiny palette, but it's packed with a lot of color. Very colorful look. This is just a smaller version of the artist palette pans that came out, and they just popped them into a palette for you so you can take it on the go. This is a great palette. These are all shimmer, but they're like shimmer and semi-matte. The consistency is really buttery and creamy. I don't know how much this palette is. It was given to me as a gift, so I didn't price it. I want to say probably $60 or so for this palette right here. This is more of the higher end palette. So all I'm going to show you is just high end palettes, and then I'm going to do another video showing some lower end palettes for you guys. You can go ahead and check them out. But every single color right here is thebomb.com. You can't go wrong with Makeup Forever. I love this company. This one, I don't know which artist palette it is, but it doesn't have a name. I want to say it's the number 2. I know the neutral one is number 1 or something. But that is from Makeup Forever. So the next one is from Smashbox. This palette came out in around the holiday last year. This one is On the Rocks. I actually got this palette for $13. It was on sale at Ulta. And so this is my only Smashbox palette. I don't really use this palette as much, but the colors are beautiful, great fall colors. I'm really going to get back into using this palette. I do love the hard case packaging, so it really protects the eyeshadows from damage or breakage or anything like that. Really, really pretty. It came out with another larger palette that I missed out, and that's what I really wanted, but I settled for this right here. This palette is from Morphe brushes, and this is their highlight and contour palette that I purchased. This is my only palette from Morphe brushes, and this palette right here was a miss for me. I really wanted to like it. They were having a sale on their palettes, and I needed a powder contour highlight palette, and this looked really, really pretty in the picture. I thought it was going to work for me. I tried to give this a chance, and it didn't do anything for me. It didn't work with my skin tone. It's really super chalky. It's also patchy. I don't know. I wasn't feeling this one. Maybe I just need to use it some more and give it a third, fourth try. But this palette was like $13 on the website, and of course they got mad crazy shipping. So at the end of the day, it was probably like 22 with some change or something. But yeah, I'm not super excited about this. I want to try out some of the other colorful palettes that they have, because everybody raves about them. But this face palette, I guess they call it the face palette or contour palette, was a miss. I'm going to try to find some other uses for it, but this is one of my least used contour palettes right here. I don't think I bought this a year ago, and I've only touched like a couple of these pans. So another palette is from Kat Von D, which is my only Kat Von D palette. I actually saw this in Ross for like $10, and I was like, you know what, let me try this palette out. It's like a little gothic-y type palette. It's hard, and the name of this palette is Poetica, which is pretty much purples, a little bit of browns and oranges in there. I really want to love this palette. It's super chalky. This is like a horrible palette. I hope this is not a representation of Kat Von D. I've heard great things about them, but buying this palette did not want to make me go out and buy nothing else. This palette is like, I'm just doing swatches. You can see how chalky it is. Every color is chalky. It feels like one of those Bonnie Bell, My First Palette type stuff. Here's another one. It's just falling out everywhere. This is I wish I could return this. This is a horrible palette. I'm sorry, Kat Von D. I hope the new palette that comes out, I saw swatches and they look beautiful. I might give it a try. But this right here was a hot mess. I'm sorry. This is a hot mess. In fact, I'm going to give it to my daughter and let her play around in it. That's how bad this palette is right here. I don't know if you have any other Kat Von D palettes that are great. Post them down below, because this right here. Alright, so the next two palettes are my favorite palettes from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is the Shadow Couture World Traveler palette. This is my most used palette as of today right now. I use this palette just about every single day. I also use it on my brides and clients. My favorite color out of this palette is Pink Champagne. This is an LE palette, so I don't know if they're still selling on their website. If they are, I'll post it down below. But every color is the bomb. is the bomb. Love, love, love. And I also have the Amrizzi palette right here, which is also one of my most used and loved palettes right here. I believe these palettes are like $24. Out of these two palettes, the color pigmentation is really, really great. Of course, you know, Anastasia Beverly Hills has had some misses on the palettes there, which I have one of them, which is the artist palette, and that one is a horrible palette. I don't even know where it's at. It's somewhere around here. I don't know where it's at. But yeah, really, really love. Oh yeah, one more palette, which actually fell. I'm gonna get it. Which is from Sugar Pill, which is the Heartbreaker palette. They have other palettes, but this one is my favorite. If you are looking for color, a great color payoff, makeup company, Sugar Pill Cosmetics is the one that you go to. They are expensive. This palette right here was $54 for the 4 pans, but you get large pans. And I had this for about two or 3 years. I've had this for a while. This one right here. Anytime I want a bright green or bright blue, I always come to this palette right here because it never fails me. This company has beautiful products. They also have pigments also, which are really, really great. Love Sugar Pill Cosmetics. All right, so that is my video on Hits and Misses on makeup palettes. And this is more of the higher-ish type end. I will do some drugstore palettes, which will be my next video, and do some hits and misses on drugstore palettes for you guys. You go ahead and check it out. All right, well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to thumbs up for more videos. Thank you for watching.